What's up, Windwalkers, and welcome to my Mythic Rik Reverb guide. Right off the bat, this is an extremely strong encounter for Windwalkers, potentially being our best encounter in the whole raid. This comes down to the value you can get from Crackling Jade Lightning and our 1 minute 30 cooldowns lining up amazingly with the mechanics of the fight. So, checking out gear first, I highly recommend running a two-hander for this fight if you have one. As there are intermittent adds, a two-hander scales better for this fight, similarly to Vexy. However, if you want to funnel a bit more boss damage, then one-handers will do the trick. As of recording, this was the rank 3 Rik Reverb log in the world. And if we look at the damage breakdown, we can see exactly where all of my damage comes from. Crackling Jade Lightning is absolutely insane on this fight, and you need to make sure you're getting the most out of this ability. Note, I only cast it 7 times throughout the entire fight, and it is my top damage. Finally, talent. Now, for this boss, there isn't much flexibility when it comes to talent. Taking Last Emperor's Capacitor and Power of the Thunder King are kind of non-negotiable, and the only real choice you get is based on the weapons you're running. For a two-hander, you take Transfer the Power, and for one-handers, it's a dual threat angle. Alright, I think I've blabbered on enough in this preamble. How about we actually check out the fight then? So on pull, you're going to want to be popping absolutely everything. I target slash myself to start because there's a fair bit of movement trying to get Rik into the starting position of the fight. You can see there's a ton of markers all around, and that's basically to bait the amplifiers throughout the fight. Melee go at the top, ranged at the bottom. So this is a melee perspective, so you'll be seeing all the melee placements. So we popped everything on pull, and now the name of the game is to get the boss onto the blue marker and pump him full of damage. What I'm really trying to do here is get as many Crackling Jade Lightning stacks as possible, and positioning is vital here. I'm going to say this a lot. Making sure you're in a perfect spot to hit as many adds as possible with Crackling Jade Lightning is absolutely crucial, and you need to do this for every single set. It's where all your damage is going to come from. So you need as many adds in front of you as possible, as well as the boss. So you'll see me switching up my positioning a lot of the time during this fight, and that is because I'm trying to get in the best spot to hit as many targets as possible with Crackling Jade Lightning. So now we've dealt with the first adds, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to stand inside of this Sonic Beam. You want to stand inside of every single Sonic Beam, as your entire group needs to negate the damage from it. However, you'll see these circles going across the ground. If you get hit by 2 of these circles, you will be mind controlled, and the only way to break the mind control is to get nuked by the rest of your group. This can potentially kill you, and if you're lucky enough, it won't, but you lose a lot of damage during this mind control. As well as this, the main mechanic of the fight are the amplifiers. You'll see that on Mythic difficulty, they actually have a blue circle around them. To break this, 2 players that get the big old blue circles, that mechanic, have to stand on top of each other and pop the circle. You need to do this for every single amplifier that spawns. As well as this, your major cooldowns don't quite line up with this ad set. It's not the end of the world. The moment they do come off a cooldown, send them and shoot everything into the boss, because the next set of ads are going to come up. And what you want to do is build, again, as many Crackling Jade Lightning stacks as possible and send it. But be careful here. Don't try to build them up too high. If you do, and some of the ads fall before you send it out, you're actually going to lose damage. So it's okay sending your Crackling Jade Lightning out a bit earlier here to make sure that you hit as many targets as possible. So now we're in the intermission, and you want to get knocked up and avoid these circles. You'll see that I get hit by one of these circles, which means I'm in panic mode right now. I cannot get hit by a single another one, otherwise I'm mind controlled and I will die during this intermission. There is no saving yourself during the intermission if you're double hit. The debuff does wear off, but you just need to be careful about this. Also, be careful with lighter than air here. Sometimes you could do lighter than air, but for some reason, once you get knocked up, it doesn't actually dash you forward and it will halt you mid-air. I'm not sure what causes this, but just be aware of it. Next, it's straight to the boss as fast as possible, and you want to hit him with Strike of the Windlord and Fist of Fury straight away. The timings on this boss are perfect for Windwalker, which means that you'll have about 25 seconds left on your Swan, which means you can then send all of your cooldowns again. So now is an interesting one. I tried to line myself up perfectly with the ads, and this is a mispositioning angle. You can see that to get the perfect positioning and shoot my Crackling Jade Lightning, I greeded and got hit by 2 circles. Luckily, I wasn't one shot, but this is just something to be aware of. Positioning is crucial here to hit the Crackling Jade Lightning, but you also need to be aware where these Shriekwing circles are coming, because a double hit is bad times. The moment my major cooldowns come up, I send again. We're going straight in for another set. You want to be sending your major cooldowns as soon as they are up. Everything lines up perfectly for this fight. And now we're getting into one of the weaker parts of the fight for Windwalker. Our major cooldowns aren't up, and we're kind of running off of Crackling Jade Lightning here. I'd say that if you're progressing this boss, this is where I would send my second Storm, Earth and Fire on one of these two ad sets coming up, because you don't have big cooldowns and your Crackling Jade Lightnings are limited here. I wouldn't send it on this one, because you're going to have a 20 stack here, so it's not too bad. But the next pack, you're going to have practically nothing up. So having some extra damage from Storm, Earth and Fire can be really useful. As well as that, wherever possible, you want to touch a Deathy's Pyrotechnic. It's not always possible to do so, as everybody's bursting these down and it can be awkward, but you want to try.
5, 4, 3, 2,
So here's what I mean by the lightning mechanic. You can see me and the Demon Hunter got it, and then we go on top of the red marked amplifier, and we pop it. What you also want to do here is try and grab some of the charge off of it. Because I had no defensives, me and the Demon Hunter grabbed one each, and then I went out and used a health stone. If I had more defensives up at this time, I would have soaked up more. However, I didn't want to die for it, so it's worthwhile not doing that. So here's what I mean by cooldowns lining up. We're in the second intermission, and oh look, what's that? All my cooldowns are up for this final push. This is what I mean by Windwalker being perfect with this fight. Regardless of the Crackling Jade Lightning, we have the perfect timings on cooldowns. So the moment the intermission finishes, send absolutely everything and pump it straight into the boss. As well as that, start building up those Crackling Jade Lightning stacks again for the final ad set. Now, potentially, this fight might go on a little bit longer for you, depending on how many times you've killed this before, your icing level of your group, yada, yada, yada. But for us, we down it here. On our first couple of kills, it took us all the way to the very end of the fight. So, you want to get one final Crackling Jade Lightning and always make sure it hits the boss. Boss damage is still super important here, but yes, the ads need to die. And then you send everything into the boss and nuke him down. So, overall, I definitely could have played this fight a little bit better. You could see getting hit by two of the Sarikung circles was a bit of a misplay on my part, and I greeded for positioning. Although positioning is super important, you do need to be aware of your surroundings a little bit, because it interrupted me mid-Crackling Jade Lightning cast, and potentially stopped this from being the rank 1 log in the world. Overall, I think there's a few takeaways from this. Crackling Jade Lightning is everything. You need to make sure that you charge it up as many times as possible before sending it out into the ads. However, you do need to make sure that you hit as many ads as possible with how many stacks you have available at a time. The underutilization of Crackling Jade Lightning at the right times will definitely impact your log and your overall damage on this fight. As well as this, making sure you send your major cooldowns as soon as they're up is vital as well. Everything lines up perfect here for Windwalker and our 1 minute 30 timers. Finally, in terms of defensives, I don't think there's really anything preset here. I think it's more of a reactive defensive play. It's a little bit different to fights like Stick Spunk, Junker, or Lock and Stock, where you do have specific times that you want to be using defensives. On Rik Reverb, I say defensives are kind of a free-for-all. I'd try to use Touch of Karma, maybe in the Sonic Beam. I think that's where you get the most value from it. And I would try to use Diffuse Magic if you're soaking up charges from the Amplifier. Fortifying Brew, I think, is a free to use whenever you feel like it sort of button if you feel like you're taking a lot of damage at any time during the fight. Anyway, I've been Windwalker POV, and I hope this guide helps you with your first Rik Reverb kill. Catch you in the next one.